Boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. It is, in fact, the best day of the week. Sorry we're late. We were too busy watching Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift podcast, and it's an absolute banger. I'm kidding. I'm glad you guys are joining us and not watching that. There's 1.3 million people watching, so if there's nobody here tonight, I totally understand it. I do find it ironic. I find it very ironic that they decided to release their show today on Wednesday. Coincidence? Just saying, they know it's the best day of the week. They know where their eyeballs are at. We're competing with some big dogs tonight. We're competing with the big dogs tonight to get after it. We're going to be talking about a couple of things here, boys and girls. DJ Lagway, his health status for week one, where does it stand? ESPN doesn't like a wide receiver room. Why is that? AP poll, who voted for who? How are they feeling about Florida? Cam Parker joins the show as well. And I told you I was going to keep my eyes and ears peeled for a comment, a tweet about this team. We got one. Dave Waters. I'm going to have to call him up. We have to get him on the show. He tweeted something and my ears perked up. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Swolder joins us today. Thought you were going to miss the show watching the New Heights podcast. Glad you can make it, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, I know, man. I didn't even want to come on the show for a second because I wanted to keep watching, but at the same time, I was like, man, it's the best day of the week. This is the best show on the planet anyway, so why isn't somebody, watching this? And what was funny is, this weekend, you know how Dave likes to go out to the bars and drink a little bit. I had a guy come up to me and dared me to see if I could stand on my head for a minute straight. He'd give me $100. And if I lost, and if I fell over, I had to give him $100. So I wound up eventually losing after doing a couple shots. Fell on my, keister or whatever. And then I said, here you go. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, are you John Napier? And look, I got his autograph and I got pictures with him and everything else. But man, it's the best day of the week. It's Wednesday. Let's get it. Let's go.
I'm glad that he went from Venmo to cash. That's good. It's a healthy move for him. Way to lock and load on that one. Crazy events there on that one. We made a video about it on Monday. Some idiots decided to get chirpy with it. In the comment section, they were wrong per usual, but we'll talk about that here in just a bit. Also, shout out to Coach Rush Probst, I believe. He was the coach for the TV show back in the day on MTV, Two-A-Days. If you guys remember that from Booker, I think it was from Booker T. Washington and Alabama. One of the greatest TV shows of all time. How?
Like the wrestler?
Yeah. And then he was on at Valdosta, Georgia for a high school football show. He lost his job there. The guy's been always surrounded by drama. That's what he does. He's a great coach, but he just cheats or does something crazy, gets let go from the job. Now he's at some Christian school, just got promoted from OC or coordinator to now the head coach. I love it. How we don't have two-a-days in this new world of NIL is beyond me. I mean, that thing would hit like nobody's business. That we need to get it back immediately. Coach Rush needs to be the center point, the focal point of it. I need more of it in my life. That's all that I know. Cam, did you watch Two-A-Days? Cam?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I'm frozen.
You're good.
There we go.
Did you watch Two-A-Days?
Yeah, I was frozen.
Did I watch Two-A-Days? That was a little before my time, but I think if you ever cover or watch or are interested in high school football, you know the legend of Rush Probst.
Okay.
Legendary state champions all around, almost as many families as state titles. So it's he's quite the dude. And listen, when I saw that he was at that high school and there was that story of I guess their head coach is suspended for the year or something like that, and I noticed he was on staff as the OC. I was like, I know who the interim's going to be. There's no doubt about it. So definitely, I didn't watch Two-A-Days, but it's Rush Probst is a legend, man. I could just say that much.
It was Hoover High. Thank you, Bohannon. Booker T. I get this all confused, but Booker T was the big team down in South Florida. Booker T played St. Augustine High in the championship around that time. So I always get those Booker T and Hoover mixed up. But yeah, it was Hoover.
Yeah, the guy. That was Treon Harris's school. Booker T.
Booker T. Yeah, it's a big school. They pump talent out there to say the least. But how old are you, Cam?
I'll be 25 in October.
Damn, I'm old, bro. Dang.
We get old.
And Dave's too old for Two-A-Days. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm on an island out here.
And Mark Scott's approaching Social Security, so we're just all getting older here.
Mark doesn't have a clue what we're talking about.
Gator
Yeah.
Nation.
Yeah, Mark's just trying to figure out how to turn his TV on. Like he's sitting in one of these, putting the glasses, looking down, and he knows he's doing it right now, just dying too. He knows he is. He's got his readers on.
Funny. We had a joke earlier, and we were just like, Mark Scott probably goes in his pool and has like his iPad near his pool, trolling Miami and Florida State fans all day.
Oh, he just lives to do it. Well, Cam, we appreciate you hopping on here, man. Obviously, we're rocking and rolling and getting into some more spring practice. I think there was a lot of positivity that came from Tuesday. Wanted to get your takeaway from it. I know you posted some great clips. The biggest thing, I think, the takeaway were wide receivers were back. Mizell, Eugene Wilson were back in the mix. Who were some people that were out, though, that you saw not practicing that should be noted?
Yeah, well, again, the obvious two, Dallas Wilson and Treon Webb. No surprises there because of their ailments. They were not there, of course. I think Jamrock Grimsley, and again, these are all guys who are coming off of injuries either at the end of last year or were dealing with something in spring. So Jamrock Grimsley was there but did not participate in the corner drills. Aaron Gates was absent. Again, not really kind of sure what's going on there. But again, Billy told us at the beginning of fall that there was going to be some times that we would see him out there, other times that we wouldn't see him out there. There's still he's expected to be full go for the season opener, but he's coming off of a serious ACL injury, and that's not his first one. So no really big surprises there. And I think the other one, it was Drake Stubbs was the other major one, freshman safety. That was kind of the big surprise. But outside of that, I mean, everyone's kind of, seems healthy. They didn't have anybody in non-contact jerseys while we were there. I think that they're kind of taking those guys away from the field while we're out there, and then they put them back out if there are any. But even then, it just seems like there's no big surprises, at least with outside of Drake Stubbs. But again, I'm choosing to kind of keep it low key and chill with the injury stuff because it just seems like people kind of, they a lot of overreactions, it seems like, to minor injuries. So I don't think that there's really any major concerns other than, I guess, On3, and I'm sure we'll talk about this too. On3 put out the thing about DJ availability for week 1. Maybe he'll play, maybe he won't. But even then, like, we'll talk about that later, but it's no major, I think, news this week when it comes to injuries.
So yeah, let's dive into that because I put out a tweet saying, "Hey, what do you guys want to know?" And somebody mentioned that about his questionability from week 1. We've got it queued up to talk about it anyway, so we can I'll swing to that now, and then I'll bring you in on here, Cam. But so I didn't see. I saw Pete Nakos write an article. It felt like it was more just like a global article. I didn't see where it was like, "Hey, he's not going to play week 1." I didn't gather that. Is that what they were trying to imply, that he could possibly sit out week 1? Or were they coming off of the Monday conversation, the presser, where Billy just still kind of kept it open of where we were for things?
I didn't read the article. I don't subscribe to On3, and it's behind a paywall. So
Okay. So yeah, I read it. It didn't say anything about. Again, it was very clickbaity, and like, I hate to say that because sometimes we get hit with it. To me, that's what clickbait is that you're implying something and they don't even address it in the comments, which they didn't. I guess they did. They did in a very vague way. For us who follow it on a 24/7 basis, it's like we've known this for a week. This wasn't new news to us. But Pete Nakos putting out on a global scale, I saw the play and I was like, okay, like they're just saying what we've already known for 2 weeks now from a global perspective, right? Because Pete Nakos, or a national perspective, I should say. It didn't say that he wasn't going to play, but that's how it read. The title did, is that week 1 was up in question, which was never stated at all. It was simply what you were there on Monday. Billy didn't allude to that at all.
No, so and shout out Edgar Thompson for asking that question. Just straight up asking him, like, if Florida had a game on Saturday, would he play? And credit to Billy too. And this is kind of the ultimate Billy moment because he does not talk about injuries. He said, "Well, we don't play a game on Saturday." So it's just kind of that. We'll keep asking about it because it's a starting quarterback for the University of Florida. You kind of have to. But Billy's, again, kind of reiterating that they're not concerned about week 1 with him. If he's available to play, which all signs point to yes, they expect him to be healthy. And again, week 1 is Long Island. So even if he plays, it's not like they're going to call all of these QB plays. They're going to rely on the run. They're going to look to just, get the ball out quickly to their playmakers. Let Jaden Baugh and Jacoby Jackson carry the workload. Let the trenches win. Blow out the Sharks week 1 and then go into week 2 against USF. But they're not concerned about it. And again, I think I even said this talking to you guys before. If DJ has to miss Long Island, it's a big deal in the sense that, yes, he's missing game reps, but it's not like he's playing Utah or Miami to open the season, right? It's kind of Florida gets a little bit of an extension to ease him into things and get him ready because week 3 against LSU is going to be the big one. Week 1 and week 2, 2 home games against non-power 4 opponents. Long Island, that's your kind of your cupcake game. USF may be a little bit more difficult. USF always seems to give Florida just some kind of troubles in the last couple times that they've played. The Florida's not raising any concerns, and it doesn't seem like they have any about DJ's availability in the early part of the season. Either he plays against Long Island, but he's still not going to do much because they're not going to need him to do much in that game. Or he doesn't play against Long Island, and, it's the Aiden Warner, Harrison Bailey, and Tramel Jones show, and they just run the ball with Baugh and Jackson. They let Eugene Wilson do his thing. They Aiden Mizell. Maybe they take some shots down the field with him. It's just kind of one of those games where I don't know if there's going to be a lot to take away from it, whether DJ plays or not, because of who the opponent is.
We've talked about a little bit too the expectations for that Long Island game, and again, we want to see him. The fans are chomping at the bits. I know that's what we want. We want to see him go out there. But again, even if he was healthy, ideally you wouldn't see him very long anyways. I said, look, my expectation isn't for the ones to go out there and dominate. It's for this team to go out there and dominate. Regardless of who's on the field, we should be at an elite level compared to Long Island. And no matter who you plug into this thing, should be able to steamroll them. And this kind of sparked the conversation is, look, how long can they get through this of just protecting DJ Lagway, keeping him in this little shell here? And can this team kind of go through it? Josh Pate spoke to this a little bit, and I've been talking about this as well. And again, I understand my perspective as the Disney Gator, the optimistic of the situation, but and a lot of people are asking, why is Florida rated so high, right? Why do people have him in the top 15 in the AP poll? It's not just because of DJ Lagway. He's a huge component of it. I understand that, but it's the pieces that surround him is what makes his team as highly rated as it is. And we're going to look at this a little bit later on, but Keith Napier wrote an article about who voted and where they voted they should be. Someone had Florida at number 6. That to me is what DJ brings. If DJ was 100%, I think that Florida probably would have cracked the top 10. If there was no health issues or concerns at all this offseason, the conversation's much different for this Florida team going into it. But everything that surrounds it, and Pate was talking how Florida can go to that LSU game. And I'm not saying that DJ can't play that game, because that's not what I want. But do you need DJ to be at a full rocking and rolling for that game for you to win that game? No. I think you could definitely, with what you have, a great defense, a great run game, and a quarterback that just stays in the pocket, knocks down a few plays, can grind one out against LSU. And that's where I've been trying to speak to this whole time, where this team excites me. I get where people are like, the roof is going to be on fire if DJ doesn't play. The team is just complete ass. Look, we're going to talk about the gauntlet. We're going to just look at it from a visual perspective. That 4-week span, 5-week span. Yeah, we need DJ Lagway. There's no question there. But I think this team has way more components and pieces to get through a lot more games than I think we want to give it credit for. I get the reason for reserves, and you still got to go out there and play and coach it. I understand all those things, but I like where things are at. Dave? When do you want to tell me he's muted, Cam? You're still. I think it's an eCam issue, Dave, because it says you're still muted. Hop out and come back in. We should have just sat here the whole time and just nodded. But no, I totally agree, Dave.
New Heights doesn't have this issue. You see why they have millions of people watching their show.
This is true.
They don't have these tech issues that you have.
Yeah, but we have Cam Parker, right? Like, I know they've got Taylor Swift, but we've got Cam Parker and Rufus.
Taylor Swift's mustache is not nearly as good as mine, I'll say.
I'm going to let you finish, Dave, but we've got Cam Parker. Okay? So, Look, and I know people hate when I say this because Q Lee's like, well, you need healthy DJ. Look, I'm not saying that DJ should play the game. I said that. Do I think DJ has to be out there and healthy and playing on 100% or playing 100% are two different things. I think healthy, I mean, like, yes, he'll be fine. But do I need DJ to be the best thing since sliced bread against LSU? No, I don't believe that he does. Here's the other part of it too. And I've seen the comments of like, I'm not buying the hype, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid this year. And I kind of, asked myself, I was like, look, man, this is kind of just par for the course. This part of the year, you look around, the excitement is through the roof for a lot of teams. Oklahoma was very excited right now. FSU's having a little bit of turmoil, but Tennessee has, I think they figure out their quarterback situation. It seems to be like it's going to be Joey Aguilar. Alabama figure out their quarterback situation. A lot of people were excited about them. Here's the truth. Out of all the excitement, there's going to be more wrong than there are right. That's just a matter of a fact. And that's the hard part of it, right? I mean, we talk about it, we get excited about it, but ultimately someone's going to be disappointed. That's the name of the game. There's more losers than there are winners in this game. And that was kind of what we're foreshadowing a little bit of what Gator Dave's tweet was. What were you going to say, Dave, while you were muted?
Can you hear me now?
We can now.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I was just going to say you could probably throw Aiden Warner and the third string guys out there. It wouldn't really matter what team you put out there against Long Island. I don't think a bunch of like people from New Jersey playing football is going to overtake a team that consistently plays football in the state of Florida. But like from a fan standpoint, I guess that like, you read some of the tea leaves out there. Of course, we all know a little bit more about all the situation and all that stuff. But like a lot of the fans are like, why isn't Lagway playing the first game? Is something up? Is there something we need to know about? I mean, I've seen that on X. From everything I've known and from what I've heard, nothing is up. But like, and I guess they're just taking extra precaution because that's what Billy Napier does. But who knows? He could play week 1. We could see him in the first snap. But I just think that like, I mean, what's it going to hurt if he goes out there for a couple drives, 2 or 3, scores, puts up 14, 21, and then just sits? Like, I don't get that part. I mean, like, he's already missed all of spring camp. He's missed some of fall camp, not all of it, but some of fall camp. I mean, he's going to need the reps. Like, I know he played last year, so that's a good sign that, that you have him in that environment and in that college environment, and you're giving him that experience. But at the same time, he needs as much reps as he can get with these guys and these receivers and all that. And if you're taking that away from him or you're limiting that before the season even starts, before week 3, week 4, and the whole schedule comes, like that could be a little bit detrimental. He needs those reps, but at the same time, if you feel comfortable with him not taking those reps, sitting him for week 1, I'm not the head coach, go ahead and do it. But I just think I don't know. I think it's kind of a bummer. You're not going to have him out there for week 1.
If he was 100% healthy walking into week 1, like with all the issues, but week 1, I believe that we will see him play week 1. I don't think we were ever going to see him play a lot week 1, regardless of this situation that is occurring here. The other side of this that nobody's talking about is if he runs out there and pulls something, Billy's head's just as much on a right. on the chair than anything else. Of why did you do it? Why did you put him out there? So that's the battle that he has to face. Let's call it what it is. We'll be the first to stake his ass if that is the case. So he's got to make the right decision. DJ Lagway does not determine a W from that week. And let's be quite honest with you, him running against the twos on scrimmage on Saturday is probably much more effective than going up against LIU on Saturday. I think playing USF is a much more game-ready type of game than going up against LIU. Yep. Go look at all the other teams. UNLV, which I'm super excited about, they play week 0. That game I'm going to be tuned into. See how they manage that game, how the starters manage that. I'm sure they'll be taken out very early. Cam, what we say?
Well, yeah, that's what I was also kind of talking about earlier is that, if DJ plays week 1, which again, I'm not going to hit the panic button. I believe he's going to play week 1. You don't want him out there for the third quarter, and don't expect Florida to run all these QB run plays or these QB based stuff. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the opening drive against Long Island, they run the ball every single play.
Yep.
Like, that's just like, it wouldn't surprise me if DJ Lagway throws less than 13 or less than 15 passes week 1. Like, that's not Florida's identity isn't passing the ball anyways. It's always been running the ball, whether with Mertz, Richardson, and even with DJ when he took over. they've always been we want to establish the run first and establish the run second, and then we'll get it to our playmakers in the air in the third. So it wouldn't surprise me if, DJ he's not going to be the reason that they beat Long Island. It's going to be a whole team thing. And then, like you said, Shelton, that USF game is going to be a lot more indicative because it's going to be a tougher opponent. And USF is a team that's kind of given Florida at least troubles the last time that they played. And you're going into LSU the week right after at LSU. So if he just only plays maybe a quarter or a quarter and a half against Long Island, kind of is what it is. If he's not playing into the second half by USF, then that's where I kind of go, okay, what's going on here? Like maybe are we getting lied to again, or are they actually, that's when I would start to be like, what's going on here? But week one against Long Island, I just don't think I'll have much to take away from that game either way. USF will be the one I take away more.
My takeaway for Long Island is going to be how they approach the game, how they need to go in there with, like he said on Monday, with the end in mind. Competing for a championship is what needs to be in your head. So if you're walking into LIU on Saturday, you need to approach that as if it's any given Saturday, so you can prepare your mind for the following week when you play against USF. Like, you need to get into that rhythm. And I want to see the team dominate. I want to see LIU not get past the 50-yard line, right? I want to see us run the ball down their throats and wear them out to where we do one play action and we hit it for 40 yards down the football field and then run two more plays and pop it in for 20 yards. Like, that's what this Florida team does. And I said it again, like, there's nothing to hide from this Florida offense. We don't have any secret plays, okay? The secret plays are a triple reverse option. I don't want any secret plays, Billy. Do what you do. Run the dang ball to ball and just suffocate them on defense. The rest
I heard somebody say that I want to beat them 65-0. If you're running the football, you're not scoring 60 points.
Yeah, you will, because they'll be tired. You'll just hand it off, break off for a bunch of 60-yard runs. Damn straight. Damn Skippy, you will.
So. I hope so.
All right. I also look back to DJ's start against Samford too. Yeah, he threw for 456 yards and 3 touchdowns, but the offense didn't do anything complex, or he didn't have to do a whole lot. They ran a play action fake and they let him chuck it deep. And he is working on deep balls in practice. We put out videos of it. So that's also like just why I'm not going to take away a lot from LIU is they're not going to ask him to do much. It'll be handoffs, and if they do something, it'll be just let your speedy guys outrun LIU. DJ's got a nice deep ball. Chuck that down the field and let Eugene Wilson go score a touchdown again. Chuck that down the field and let Aiden Mizell just outrun everyone else. They're not going to have to be super reliant on him in week one. Again, it's going to be that week 2 against USF where I think we really kind of start to see the true side of, his availability and his comfort level, the timing with the receivers, how he's doing. He's not doing 11 on 11 reps, at least in the last few weeks. Maybe he starts doing them this week. Maybe next week and the week after with game week, he actually starts doing all that stuff. But I think that week 2 against USF is where you really start to see the truth behind it as far as timing and will he do more within the offense? Will they let him scramble more? What exactly is that going to look like with being more reliant on him than in an LIU game?
Ladies and gentlemen, 450 strong in here. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, show Cam Parker some love. Been pumping out a lot of content as of late on X with practice intel, throwing some deep balls. Let's get into it a little bit. Obviously, I know you guys all get kind of broken up to watch certain things. What were some things that you liked on Tuesday? And I keep trying to probe the question, what are some things that we're not asking? I feel like there's a lot of storylines that could be distracting from what's happening, or maybe that things are too good. Again, Gator Dave put out a great tweet that I was kind of thinking about anyways. Again, that there's a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz, almost too much. Like I'm at a point where I kind of I want a little bit of negativity. I want a little bit of they can't be all sunshine and roses. That's my job. If I can't hype something up, that's weird. It's my job to spin it to be positive. I haven't done any spinning as of late. Cam, it's all you guys have been writing all positivity. I'm like, okay, maybe I gotta twist it. Now I gotta be negative. I don't want to be negative. I want to be realistic. Again, I know y'all think that I like to just come and just pump nonsense to hype people up. getting excited for this is a natural being. Like that's I know I say this, but I want to be genuine because I care about this job. It's work, whatever you want to call it. I care about getting a healthy, biased, non-biased message across while maintaining who I am, right? And how I function in life and everything is I ask questions to make myself better, even if it's not necessarily everything that I want to hear. So when I'm asking, it's not to be negative. It's because how do we truly understand what to expect come week 1? So with that little soapbox rant, Cam, what are some things that we're liking? What are some things that, hey, it hasn't been talked about a lot, but I'm keeping an eye on it. Maybe we should pump the brakes a bit.
I mean, I to get the negative so that it's not all positive, and I mentioned this before on the show that I don't see red flags with the players between the depth, experience, young talent. Even with the injuries, the issue with the injuries is just it always seems like it's a minor injury every week. Like there's always someone that's going down with a minor injury. But even then, I don't draw concerns with that because it's a physical practice and they talk about how physical it is. I've always said that the biggest red flag with this team until they prove otherwise is going to be the coaching. Can Billy effectively call a 4-quarter game? Not just have 1 or 2 drives that are really good and then drop the ball or another. Or I even go back to the Ole Miss game where Florida gets an interception in the end zone with less than 2 minutes left. Ole Miss gets the ball back and has another chance to tie the game because they go 3 and out in the opening drive. Can he find that groove where in the 4th quarter, offensively, they put their cleats on the opponent's throats and they call it a game, right? Like there isn't no second chance for the other team's offense. Can he call an effective game 24/7? Special teams saw a jump in production with the coaching last year. Can they make another jump? Because they still made mistakes. They still had, just gaffes against Georgia and Tennessee. Can they finally find that perfect is never going to happen, but can they be elite? Can they have a kick return touchdown for the love of all that's good and holy? It feels like I was in middle school the last time that they had one. Can we get some of that too? And then I just need to see the coaching. They did a great job at the back half of last year. Now it's a new season. Can they start off strong with that? So that's always going to be my red flag with this program until it's proven otherwise. And again, I'm not going to take a lot away from Long Island, but I will take a lot more away against USF and then a lot more that week 3 against LSU. So it's always just going to be the coaching for me until they say or prove otherwise that this is an elite coaching staff, not just a good coaching staff that relies on elite talent.
That's what's been tough. That's what's tough about this because I feel like this team does a lot of these things on paper and off the field really well, whether it's building a culture, going through their processes. Recruiting has never been a question mark on their ability to evaluate talent, develop talent has definitely has been backed. We've seen that progress. Being fundamentally sound through practice, like you said, that hasn't been a question mark. So it's hard to see it. Where the big question marks have been is that in-game management, which you can't judge that. Like where there's nothing that we can look to in practice. We try to. I know I do. We look at his interviews. We look at Napier and how he answers questions. I think that's kind of your only little tidbit of that's a heat of the moment. Edgar throws him a fastball of, hey, if DJ were to start today, to me, look, hear me out. He throws him a fastball. If we were to play this Saturday, would DJ play? And Billy hits him quick with, we don't have to play this Saturday. That's Billy being quick on his feet. That's Billy going 4th and 1. Hey, just DJ, take up the gut. Like, don't need to come over here. Don't need to think about it. I'm not fiddling with my water bottle. I know this is stupid, but when we're in the off season, like I'm looking for anything I can to give me a pulse. And look, for Florida fans, that's where our struggles have been. When you go read others, I mean, we keep up a lot of these teams now with all of our college football shows. I'm trying to get a better grasp of like, where are these holes? Where are things lacking? Oklahoma's question mark was quarterback. It's not Brent Venables and his ability to call a game. It's the offense. Well, that's been addressed. So now they're just all eyes are on John Napier and whether or not he's going to take the over-under, right? Like that's where their focus is at. LSU's been the trenches. That's their concern. It hasn't, I mean, Brian Kelly should be raised into question, but at the same time, Brian Kelly's won some football games. So there's going to be the question mark of grit from their football team, and then they're focusing on the trenches. This Florida team has had some holes, but again, that should be the positive though too, is that they've at least addressed some of those things that we were concerning coming into it. But I appreciate your candidness. The injury thing is definitely a reason for concern that we've obviously navigated through this entire offseason, but I appreciate your candidness. Dave?
Yeah, I think you go back to the beginning of Billy Napier's tenure. I mean, everybody's going to give you grace in year one because you're playing with players that you didn't recruit. Nobody really cares about your record in year one. I mean, you had that good start against Utah, then it falls off a cliff. You go into year two, you bring in Graham Mertz. He has a pretty decent season. Billy Napier, improves his completion rating, some of the statistics that he had the year before. And then you go into last year where he's like, hey, man, you're going to see a lot of stuff that you haven't seen before. And nothing really happened until halfway through the year. So now you go into this season, and I'll give Billy Napier credit. He hasn't really said much. He hasn't given any bulletin board material. He hasn't said like, oh, you better watch out for this or that or anything else. But I will say his demeanor is a lot more calm, cool, and collective. And I think with that demeanor and the way that you can read some of the mannerisms he is up there at the press conference, it makes you feel really good as a fan because before you didn't see that type of Billy Napier. He was talking about, people giving opinions in their basements and all sorts of other stuff like that. And I think you got to really look into how Billy Napier just acts when he talks about this team. And I think, there's a lot of issues going around in college football, especially John Napier and all that. You don't see those issues here at University of Florida, but it's like what Cam said. It's like we're ready to see this team come together. I mean, me and you sat here last year. We bragged about the roster and said, hey, man, this can be a great team because it's so much better. It's night and day from year one. Nothing really happened until half the year. Now it's even better than last year. And now fans are really saying, okay, we need to see something now. Okay, 8-5 is good, but 8-5 wasn't good for Urban Meyer or any of those other teams here at Florida. We want to see us win consistently or not even 9, like 10, 11, 12 games, getting into the playoff, that sort of thing. So, I think that the fans' opinions are going to differ because some people are okay with 8-5 because we've been bad for so long. So I grew up when 8-5 sucked. So I think you're going to get difference of opinions, but I think that right now I've seen Billy Napier as most comfortable, but I do want to see improvements in coaching, and the special team stuff has lasted for years and it has not improved. We still can't get the right amount of people on the field. It's all disorganized. Is that going to stop this year? That's one of the main things that I think kills us. And I think that's a main thing that Urban Meyer really implemented was special teams. I mean, you can add a touchdown or add good field position just on special teams, especially with all that speed you just recruited. I mean, you got to put a guy back there. I'm not a big fan of putting a running back there. I just don't like it. If you got a wide receiver or somebody with speed, I'd rather them have the ball and be back there. There's a lot of talk about VB3 taking a lot of snaps back there. We'll see if that actually happens. But I want to see improvement special teams wise and coaching wise. And coaching wise, it's just mainly in-game decisions. What are you calling at the right times? And are you calling timeouts at the times that you shouldn't be calling timeouts? I think that was a big issue Billy Napier faced. I think he improved on it a little bit. I still think he's got a long ways to go. But overall, I think what he's done in recruiting and the roster he's put together will allow him to make a little bit more mistakes, especially if this offense keeps humming.
Again, the buzz is obviously through the roof. It's the biggest it's been in quite some time. I headed into that year, that 2020 year, there was some excitement. You felt good about where the team was. And I remember that year, and the way that I looked at that year was that it was kind of everything synced up perfectly. You had a lot of seniors on that team where your team was older, it was experienced, and that was Tennessee a few years ago. I said it, kind of lightning in a bottle. You kind of just struck gold, and then Tennessee dipped off, but they've recruited well to kind of maintain it. What excites me about this Florida team is that not only is this team built to do something special this year, you see the future. You see that there's sustainability for the long haul. Like that's what Billy has done, and that's what you really hope for this thing to work and to click, so he can kind of reap the benefits and reap what he has sowed over the last couple of years versus what we've had prior, where it was just quick flashes, but never really any true building was happening. Look, we're getting there. We're antsy. We're irritable. We're ready to play some football.
One more thing, I will say the team togetherness and like camaraderie matters a lot too. I mean, I think we've had multiple ex-football players come on this podcast and say, like, look, team camaraderie, like that locker room, if they're all on the same page and they want the same goal, that team plays a lot more different than a normal team that would just have a bunch of 3, 4, 5 stars on it too. So you got to have that team camaraderie, and you got to have the goal in mind with those guys that says, hey, we're going to win every single football game. Like, it's got to be there, or you're just going to lose it. You're going to lose the program. I think Billy's done a good job with that too. So.
Yeah, that's something that they've been talking about, at least players all throughout fall camp, is just, especially like the older guys. I can think, talking to like Jake Slaughter, talking to Austin Barber, even Trey Smack, Tyreek Sapp, like guys who were here at least Billy's first year. A couple of them were here in Dan Mullen's last year, and talking about just how much it's improved to where guys aren't hanging out with just their position groups; they're floating around to others. Just because you're a defensive guy doesn't mean you can't be good friends with an offensive player. And we've kind of seen that on the field too, because that translates, and it translated in the back half of the season where, Billy Napier's 2023 squad would not have won 4 games in a row with that schedule. They probably would have gone 4-8, right? But they get the right guys in, the guys develop, they get the bad seeds out. And when things got tough, they turned things around and won 4 games in a row. And so I think that that's also where the hope was, that you could actually see the work that they put in over the last couple of years finally come to fruition for a part of the season. Now it's about, because it's a whole new season, you got to put all that stuff behind you, and you got to actually do it for a full 12 regular season game. And so, again, they've got all the pieces to have a really good year. It's just, again, can the coaching staff kind of keep up with the talent now? Can they do the right things at the right time? And really put these guys in a spot to be successful this year.
The big thing for me last year was it just felt like such a long, treacherous season that it felt like a couple of seasons in one. And so everyone keeps saying 8-5. Like, I don't even remember the record. Like, I don't look at that season as an 8-5. I understand. I know that sounds dumb, but for me, it felt different. It was broken up into quadrants, if you will. And we felt that, like, hey, you got to go win this quadrant. Like, it was the fourth quarter. You got to go win this fourth quarter. And that's exactly what they did. And I think that's, for me, where a lot has changed my perception of Billy and his ability to call, because, like you said, Cam, like, everything that we've been hearing and building up towards. And remember the hype we had last year going into the season? We weren't just pumping smoke. Chris Dorian, like, everyone felt the same way. There was concerns. You brought them up. Other people brought them up, which we saw them early, and then they kind of figured it out. But ultimately, what we saw at the end is what we were all planning on seeing for a majority of that football season. And look, Tennessee, poorly mismanaged. That game, that's a W. There's 9-4 right there. That game alone, you're possibly looking at a playoff with how things closed. And that game was atrociously coached. We did everything we could to lose it. Our red zone offense was horrendous. A lot of just self mistakes in that game. Like, I'm not trying to hang it on, but that's where things have to be better, and I think can be. But I also think the town is so much better this year that it almost, I believe, work you out of some of those situations to where you're not having to make as many hard decisions. So a lot of interesting stuff there on that one. You spoke with Jamari Lyons today, Cam, our punter, and
Tommy Doman. Let's go.
Yeah, Tommy.
What a guy.
Yeah, let's talk about it. What were some fun quotes, some things you loved from those guys today?
Well, we spoke to 4 guys today. So Doman, Lyons, Jaden Baugh, and Najee Harris. And I think the 2 that Jamari Lyons is awesome. Let's just get that clear. He is a awesome dude. And he was very candid about his injury last year, his recovery process, and how blessed he is to be back. Not just the fact that he's actually competing for a starting spot and he's going to be in the rotation, but the fact that he's walking. I didn't know this. He was in a wheelchair for 3 weeks after his injury. He didn't start putting weight on his foot until January. His injury happened in August. So can you imagine having to I'm not talking about football player who gets all of this recovery and help around him, but just as a basic human being, he snapped his bone and it pierced the skin. Not to be graphic or anything, but
no, give it to us.
It's an injury that guys don't come back from, and he's come back from it, and he feels stronger. He says he put on weight because that's going to help him be more stable. He's embraced everything that's come with the injury. And he was very open about the emotions about it, about when he was hurt and he had 2 surgeries and he was in the hospital, Gerald Chapman would go visit him and they would have emotional moments with each other. But he's come back and he's embraced a leadership role. He's done all the right things. He learned about how to take care of his body. That was the other thing, because I asked him, credit to myself, I'm going to pat myself on the back.
Get it.
I asked him about, there's a lot you can take away from an injury like that off the field. What were some of the things that you learned about yourself while going through that? And he was like, how to take care of my body, putting the right things in my system, not, falling for the junk food and the bad foods, and, learning about like why the recovery process on a day-to-day basis after practice is extremely important, why it's important to show up early so that you can get tape and get taken care of by the training staff before practice, why it's important to stay late for your recovery, why it's important to eat, like all that stuff. And he's an awesome dude. I mean, if you guys ever get him on the show, I highly recommend doing it, because he is just, he was great.
Maybe
just
we
about
reach out.
His candidness about the recovery process and how tough it was for him. But the fact that he's out on the field and he's walking and he's running, and how, they kind of, when he was going through the rehab process, they had to hold him back because as soon as he got the cast off, he was ready to run. And they're like, no, we need you to walk first. Please take it down a bit. He had an emotional moment in the locker room the last week of spring camp where he didn't realize he was going to be full go. He had been wearing a black jersey, walks in the locker room for practice, and there's that blue number 95 jersey waiting in his locker room.
Wow.
And he kind of picked it up and he just looked at it and was just smiling. And most guys, that's how a walk-on reacts for the fact that he gets a jersey.
Yeah.
Right? Like and he was reacting like that for a practice jersey just because he was back to being full go. And, the team celebrated with him, and, he was kind of nervous a little bit coming back because he was trying to get acclimated, but he feels great now. He's ready to go. I'll have a story on it with SI either tomorrow or Saturday. I have to figure out my schedule for that. But he was the highlight of today, just getting to hear that story. And, because we've heard a lot of obviously negative stuff with injuries throughout this entire offseason. To hear something positive about a guy who he suffered what for some people would be a career-ending injury, but he has been awesome in the recovery process, getting back to being on the field. He's embraced everything. He's taken lessons from that. And, he should be a main contributor on this defensive line this year. So it was awesome. It was, when we look back to fall camp, at least from media guys, we talk about like who was a good press conference and who maybe wasn't the best. Jamari Lyons is top 2, and he's probably not number 2 in my opinion.
That I love hearing those kind of stories. It just, I hate you for telling me, Kim, because now it's just one person you fall in love with. Like it pulls on the heartstrings a little bit. And I'm as you're telling me that, I'm picturing him walking into the locker room, and you understand. Like, I mean, we haven't gone through that. We've gone through our own little battles ourselves, though. But that's a hell of a recovery process to go through. And real quick, shout out to you, because again, I think it gets overlooked. Great questions when it comes to journalism gets overlooked. It's not something that's not appreciated when it's done well. But if it sucks, you're definitely, it's like being a kicker and O-lineman. Nobody notices until it ain't going right. But great questions obviously make somebody feel comfortable with you, pulls the best out of them, the way that you say it and word it, allows for you to get a good story, a good piece, which plays a huge part in your role and what you do. So kudos to you. And to his point on having to get there a little bit earlier to stretch and having to stay a little bit later. By golly, boys, I'm telling you, 30 feels a whole lot like 40. I used to roll up to the course, tee times at 9:15. I'm the guy rolling at 9:10, shoes being slipped on, rolling up with the bag, so y'all ready to sling this thing and just sending it, right? If I try that now, I'm cooked. I mean, something's popping. The knees are tweaking. I got to get there like 20, 30 minutes early to fully respect my body. I've accepted the fact that, hey,
stretching and all that other kind of stuff.
I remember I used to, when I went to baseball camp, man, like that was a ritual. Like we go out there, we're doing one of these. We're doing the little karaoke thing. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Baseball boys knows what's up. I'm out here in the golf course. Like, they're like, what is he doing? I'm like, yeah, I got that swim. Let's go. Jason knows what's up.
And then they say, like, look at the old guy over there in the corner doing the stretches. It's like, wait till you get this age and you get arthritis and everything else, man. Like, you're going to be stretching and everything else. But,
I wish I would started stretching sooner. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, but on the Jamari Lyons thing, I just wanted to add a little bit to it. There comes a time, like in a journalist, it's like you have a negative story, and it sucks because you have to report the story, and you're the guy that everybody's going to be looking to, and they're going to be in the comment section just saying what they have to say. I mean, you can put it in a nice way, but it's always negativity when something negative happens. But in this case, the Jamari Lyons case, like that's a really good positive story, and it really, you don't realize what you have sometimes until it's gone. Lyons being good enough to get a scholarship, come to the University of Florida. He's wearing the jersey. It becomes accustomed to him. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to go play. And I'm not saying the players aren't grateful for playing. They are. It's just you become used to it. You're just like, all right, I'm going out there to play. But once it gets taken away from you and you have to sit out a whole season and just watch your team on television, and then you come back, you're in a black jersey, and then all of a sudden you finally see that blue jersey back on there. That's a really cool feeling, man. And it's like, you got to make the best of this now. Like you've literally went through adversity, and now you got to make the best of that now. And it's a really cool story. I'm glad you shared that one with us.
Thank you. What about Tommy?
It was awesome.
Fourth-time quarterback.
Tommy's great too, man. I think today was a really good day, and I know the beat kind of gets flack for questions and how they're asked sometimes, and but I feel like we asked not to pat ourselves on the back, but today was a good day. I felt like how we, the questions that were asked, the conversations that we were having with players. It didn't feel like a Q&A. It was, we were talking about what was going on with these guys.
Could have done smelling salts if need be.
Yeah.
Is that
No.
Not okay. Not that close.
No.
Okay.
He was just reporting the news.
But Tommy was great too. And what I took away from Tommy is, again, we talk about the special team shortcomings over the last couple of years, and obviously with Crawshaw leaving, what was the question mark at punter going to be? It seems like it's going to be seamless. The guy came to Florida because he could see the attention to detail that Florida was putting in its special teams unit, and the growth over the last couple of years. Again, they took a jump from 2023 to 2024 with their special teams production. Then again, 2023 was in such a low bar to jump from, but they still made a jump nonetheless. So you hope that they can keep that. And, he talked about the intricacies that Florida does as far as like punting's not just you catch the snap and you let it loose, right? It's about location, spin, making sure you have a good grip on the ball, making sure that you catch the ball properly. I mean, he does drills with the jugs. Like the receivers do, so he can catch the snap properly. Putting it in a location to where your gunners can get there. Jamarcus Weston wouldn't be as good of a gunner on special teams if he didn't have Jeremy Crawshaw putting it in a great spot for him to go make a tackle. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of intricacies that come with that. And listen, like, I think special teams get us a lot of, just in general, a lot of flack because it's not offense or defense. Punters are people too, okay? And Tommy Doman, he's a dude, and again, just the attention to detail and the camaraderie that he's built with Trey Smack and Rocco Underwood, and 3 seniors. The guy's best long snapper in the country, and Rocco Underwood, one of the better kickers in the country, and Trey Smack, and a guy who you think you can be an NFL punter, and Tommy Doman. They have 3 true freshmen behind them. So not only are they trying to be productive, they're the examples for the future of the special teams unit at the University of Florida. And that's a big place to be in too. So he was great too, just his journey, he knew about Florida and the history that they put with special teams unit. Guys like Tommy Townsend, guys like Judd Davis, guys like, Johnny Townsend, Eddie Pinheiro, and Trace Mack had talked about this before too.
Eric Wilbur.
But Florida has Eric Wilbur. A lot of the, emphasis and Florida is a great special teams school historically. That's just the way it is. And Tommy Doman maybe he's not a Florida boy. He went to Michigan, but he knew enough about Florida's rich special teams history to at least have an interest in them out of the portal and think like, hey, I could be the next one. This is something I should listen out to. And then Joe Houston and the other guys are like, hey, here's the attention to detail that we put in. We emphasize special teams. Come be a part of this. And that was a big thing that he talked about too. So again, you talk about the coaching and you want to see the improvements. A new transfer talking about that's a big thing to hear about when it comes from. At least you can see they're making the effort to put in that attention to detail. Now it's going to be about the execution. Can they avoid the stupid mistakes? Can they be ready? And, Tommy was great to talk to, too. I talk to special teams. Any young journalist watching, talk to the special teamers because no one else will. At least, like, if they do breakout sessions. Doman spoke in front of the entire media today. Talk to special teams guys if it's ever a one-on-one thing. They are great dudes to talk to, and you get to learn a lot about.
They're the personality on the team,
unit.
And they see everything.
Yeah, they're great dudes too, and they'll tell you a lot too. So it was.
You know who hosts the hottest podcast or the hottest TV show on ESPN? A former punter. If that doesn't tell you what you need to know about them dogs.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why they made that shirt. Punters are people too, man.
Yeah. Well, Cam,
it was great today. I mean, it was a great. Tommy's great. Jayden Ball was great too. He's just real quick. He's got an interesting story. I don't know if you guys know his recruiting story or not. He was being recruited as a linebacker by Florida. He does a scrimmage against Billy's brother in LaGrange, beats the crap out of them as a running back. Billy's brother calls Billy and says, "Hey, you guys may want to get back on this. He's committed to Arkansas as a running back. You guys should take another look at this one." Billy swoops in and gets the commitment, and now he's a starting running back for the Florida Gators.
Coach Kirk?
Oh, no, it was the other brother, I believe.
Oh, I thought Coach Kirk had a notch on a helmet. I was like, we getting Kirk a sticker.
Story too. Jayden told us that apparently his dad played one of the Napier brothers in high school. So there was some little bit of local familiarity there. And I think it's funny for those who would remember Derrick Henry being recruited by Will Muschamp. They wanted him as a linebacker, and he went to Alabama to be a running back. And we all saw how much of a disaster that was for the University of Florida. Finally feels like we come full circle, man. We recruited the linebacker to play running back, and he's poised to have a big year this year. So that was
we got our Derrick Henry. We back,
cool
baby.
Little story there with Jayden Ball about they were looking at him as a linebacker, and he was open about it too. He said, "I was down to play anything. When they were first recruiting me, I just wanted to be on the field, and then senior year, I was like, maybe I should focus on running back. That's a position I feel more comfortable in." It. Lo and behold, he's a pretty dang good running back. So I think that both he and Florida made the right decision getting back on that one.
Another curse Billy breaks by snapping the missed linebacking recruiting situation. So
yeah, just the nightmares I had from him just saying that, making me think of Will Muschamp. At least he made the right decision this time. I was just like, man, I don't even want to think about that anymore.
I mean, to Muschamp's point, I mean, the guy was a defensive guy. He probably would have made Derek work at linebacker too. So I get it. I mean, I think he just wanted to make sure that defense was good, though. Defense was good. Cam, tell them where they could follow you. Always a blast to have you on, man. Love chit-chatting with you. Getting the insights, stirring the people up, letting us know that we're going to win all the football games this year, per usual. But tell them where they can give you some love, man.
Yeah, well, first off, when I was leaving the facility, it was raining, but I hope that wet concrete that they were building for statues wouldn't be ruined by the rain today. They had some workers out there doing some stuff. I'm just playing. It's also good that Florida's starting quarterback has his Venmo on private. So that's good. That's Florida's doing all the right things right now. I think I would rather be talking about minor injuries than a starting quarterback who's Venmoing, betting stuff, even if it's an inside joke.
So I thought the same thing, and then I saw a shirt design. It said Napier money line. I go, kind of pissed that we don't have somebody for us to capitalize on that. Honestly, I was a little bummed. Not gonna lie, I was like,
it is.
Yeah, I would make one
big marketing ploy. This NIL era.
We would have crushed. We would have crushed if give me a scandal. Give me a fun scandal, boys. Just a nice little easy one that doesn't piss anybody off. And I'm telling you, get the printers fired up. We're making t-shirts.
I mean, you can only make so many reckless driving, drunk things for Georgia. It just keeps happening. They need something different.
Those aren't fun. Those are like life and death. Betting on football is it's not, to me, it's not a serious. I mean, it's a serious crime for Napier, but you can laugh about it and nobody gets hurt. So,
true.
Yeah. Give me something fun. Cam, we love you, man.
But anyway, to actually answer your question, at Cam Parker 25 on X, si.com/Florida. We've been putting out content all throughout fall camp. We'll continue to do so. Media schedule, just because I know I drop it in the High Top Discord chat when I get it. So that's another reason to join the High Top Sports Discord chat is, we talk about a lot of things just about, I give the injuries updates in there before I post them on SI because it's quicker to do it that way. And, to give you guys some juice there. And, we talk a little bit, we talk about like recruiting and things like that too. We've got a couple other insiders in there who do a good job, but, media schedule, we have, let's say Wednesday. So we have the viewing period tomorrow at 10:45. So another 10 to 15 minute viewing period. That is the last one that we will have until spring camp. So I would like to emphasize that is the last thing that we will get as far as practice until spring camp next year, tomorrow morning.
And then we go 2 weeks of cold?
2 weeks of cold, baby.
Oh.
What the hell, Cam?
I'm sorry to ruin your night, but
holy crap!
Friday 11:30 we have a players press. Friday 11:30 players press conference, so we'll have another 4 players.
Well, look, next,
and then we were told. Go ahead.
No. I was just next Saturday we have football, so it's closer than we think, but not our football. But we have football.
Yeah. Yeah, look, so it's no surprise because they take that week where it's the transition from fall camp to game week, and then the week right after that is game week. So
yeah,
this is kind of the end of fall camp, and then they get into game week stuff. In the week after in 2 weeks. But player presser Friday morning at 11:30. So we'll have another 3 to 4 players then, and then I was told today Billy presser to round out fall camp Monday evening. Not sure what time yet. We'll get that confirmation sometime this week.
Now, would we get a presser on Wednesday then to get in that game habit?
I have no idea. I only was told about Monday. We'll get the media schedule this weekend though.
Okay.
But it's a good thing. Football's almost back, boys.
That is true.
We're right there, ready to go.
I can taste her. All right, you're right.
It's like I was talking on the phone. I was just like, man, we've got like 2 more Saturdays and then the game.
3 Saturdays.
Yeah, it's
the third. Yeah, you're right.
You see that light at the end of the tunnel. You don't know if it's a train coming to get you or if it's the sunshine ready to greet you, man. But it's
something.
We're right there, man. I think we're itching to get it to be actual college football being played.
Could be Mark's mom.
Rufus is excited.
Could be Mark's mom waiting on you, boys and girls. Cam Parker, we're not going anywhere, but Cam is. You guys be good, or Cam, you be good. You guys don't leave. Cam, we appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by as always, man. Love you.
See you, Cam.
I appreciate it, boys.
Boys and girls, we're not going anywhere. We're going to talk about ESPN wide receivers. We're going to look at the AP poll, who voted for who. We've got our voicemails we still got to go over. This might be a 6-hour show, and now that I realize that we don't have football or any news coming out for the next couple of weeks, we might have to just not end the show. A couple of super chats. I apologize for not getting to them. Wow, we just landed another massive one. You guys are incredible with the support here tonight. I love you. We got Gissy, $10. Super Dave, AOL is done with their dial-up service at the end of the month. Time to upgrade. Did my guy just say Florida is a run team? Look, we are going to win. This is practice. No more calling in for Gissy. He's just going to leave voice or leave super chats now. I apologize for being a little late behind it. When we have guests on, I try not to be rude with the comments.
I was about to say, so we both have like fiber, and for some reason, sometimes it acts like dial-up.
We look good tonight, though. We look like $1 billion.
We look spiffy.
Yeah, we do. Nick, $5. When are you going to drop some I'm in Shambles merch? Y'all are the best. We might have to do that. That's the one thing I haven't truly thought of. I feel like I dropped the ball. We got Beat LIU shirts. Probably your last week to get them, boys, if you want to get on that. We got also $10 from Gator Man. Didn't leave a super chat. Just showing some love. Thank you, Gator Man, for the $10. Much appreciated.
Thanks for love, man.
Yeah. Rolling with Carlos, $2. Says much love to my boy Cam, Dave, and Shelton. Go check out Rolling with Carlos. I believe he'll be doing segments with Dylan Olive this season. So go check him out. Drunk Gator. Bam! 50 bones for the boys. $17 or 17 days till game day, baby. Y'all have made a long offseason seem a lot shorter. Well, I appreciate that, Drunk Gator. Go Gators.
Thank you.
Yeah, that means a lot.
I was about to say, we put a lot of hard work into it, and Shelton knows about all the work everybody puts into it. But, yeah, man, we love delivering the entertainment and making the offseason, or I guess the offseason entertaining for everybody else, because it just sucks when it's the offseason, you know? It's no football.
It does. We try to have fun with it. It was an easier offseason this year because we got a national championship. Now, I also, we're excited as we roll into the season. What's exciting for the season is that, more eyeballs means sponsorships. For today's sponsor, I'm actually pumped about this sponsor. I always say that because we try to team with people who I think will be relevant to our audience. I think it's cool. It's called Odds Jams. We're going to play the ad here in a minute, but basically, if you like to get after it and bet a little bit, it's taking advantage, which I've always thought of this, and now someone put it together. They're using all this technology to use the betting sites against themselves to where you become profitable. Take a listen. People are making thousands every month betting on sports completely risk-free. The secret? They're using Odds Jam. Odds Jam isn't just another betting app. It's turning the entire system in your favor, and here's how. Odds Jam uses a strategy called arbitrage, finding odds discrepancy across a sports book. You bet both sides, and no matter the outcome, you will profit. Here's an example. If you bet $500 on Boise State to win on FanDuel and $335 on their opponent San Francisco on DraftKings, you're guaranteed to make $50 win or lose. It's that simple. With Odds Jam's mobile app, you'll get real-time alerts on these opportunities every day. People are making thousands of dollars every month, and to get you started, use the code HIGHTOP for 35% off and a 7-day free trial. I guarantee you'll profit during the trial, and if you don't, cancel with one click, no questions asked. Don't leave money on the table. Go to oddsjam.com now, use the code HIGHTOP, and start making money the smart way. That guy was handsome. I mean, I don't know where OddsJam got that guy, but that was a good-looking dude right there.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, when I think of sexy, I just think this show. I mean, you know.
I love it. All right, let's dive into some more conversations here. A lot of great stuff there with Cam Parker. Let's talk about what else we got. All right, this gauntlet, man, we've talked about it time and time again, but I posted this the other day with Spot the Ball next to it. Seeing this thing on paper was nuts. So obviously kicks off with LSU.
Wow.
What?
We got a number beside us in the rankings.
Oh, bro, you scared the hell out of me. I was like, what? Something happened? Is you breaking me? What's going on?
That's the big surprise.
Yeah. All right, so look, we got Florida at LSU, 7:30 kickoff at 9:13. Then the week after, of course, we go to Miami. Both games on the road. We know that. Here's my gauntlet's even harder. Nobody's talking about my schedule because there's a bye between Miami and Texas. That bye week is the week my kid is due. So I have got a big gauntlet where I'm going up against ranked opponents week in and week out. And then, of course, we've got Texas at home on October 4th and then A&M the 11th. I was talking about it today at work. The conversation, it's starting to come around on Twitter. We've talked about it. Who's must win? What game do you got to get after it, right? And if we look at this if we look at this stretch and we include Georgia, so LSU, Miami, Texas A&M, and Georgia, I don't know how we got to this point, but I was like, if you told me that we beat Miami, Texas, and Georgia, you can have LSU and A&M. Like like it's not even a question mark. Like I was like, I don't know how we got to it. Like if it makes any sense, but because he was like, hey, Miami's must win. I was like, it's not, but it is because of how much we've talked about this, but just the build-up, obviously, with both guys going into year 4. There's a lot there. You want to win that football game on top of just talking smack. But I was like, if we lose to LSU and A&M, at the time, losing LSU is going to suck. And I know Q Lee and a few others want to beat LSU. But if that's the trade-off, if I got to make a deal with... I made a deal with the Devil Boys, all right? This is what I've come to the conclusion. We're going 10-2. These are the two that we're losing. Take it, all right? Don't argue with me. Let's just move on.
Yeah, I mean, the Georgia game's always near and dear to me because I live here, but it is a bigger game than a lot of all those other games. And I think we discussed this like last week or the week before.
We have.
About how how the recruiting works and like how Kirby's just been stealing everybody from you. Like, do you finally want to get over the hump, show people that you can actually beat Kirby Smart, get some of those other recruits that maybe he gets all the time? The Miami game, I get it because they talk ruthless on the internet, but like, I mean, who doesn't talk ruthless on the internet as a fan base? But they're just one of the worst because they get personal and everything. So I get why people want to beat Miami. They don't want to lose 2-0 2 years in a row. But if that were to happen and we beat Texas and Georgia, I'm not caring about losing Miami 2 times in a row. Now, I will say, you lose to LSU and then you lose to Miami, then you're probably sitting there scratching your head.
Okay, hey, listen, let's not talk. Let's not get negative. We weren't trying to.
I'm just giving scenarios. I'm just giving scenarios. And you're sitting there scratching your head. What if you did? Say you lost to both of those, but you turn around, you beat Texas A&M, Georgia. You're not going to care. You're really not going to care. You could lose 2 of these games right here, But if you beat the big guys, like you beat the big top 5 guys, nobody's going to care about losing any of these 2 games here. They're not, especially if you make it to a playoff. And we already know what happened with some of those teams. And like Miami came into the stands, tried to get our recruits, still had the 13th ranked class anyway. I mean, is it really going to matter if they beat us again? Probably not. But like you beat the big dogs, like those recruits are going to be looking at your school anyway. And then that's going to set you up for the future. It's going to get you into a playoff and everything else.
Hell of a stretch, man. Hell of a stretch. I love it. I got to be quite honest with you. It's going to be when we're going to have watch parties for every single one of them, and I can't wait. Speaking of that, the garage is about 90% there, boys. We got a lot of the gear showing up this weekend. Also, if there's anybody that wants to sponsor the show that is located here that wants to help me air condition the garage, or maybe give me a portable, I'm all ears. Okay, we listen. I'm pretty pumped about this. Okay. We're getting a little golf simi in there. All right, we're gonna get a big watch area couch. It's gonna be fun because with the kid coming, we gotta go a lot of night games. We gotta make some movements. Obviously, I got kicked out of my back porch, so we're gonna turn it up. We're gonna crank it up. And I realized that we had major success from the watch parties in the garage last year. We actually won a national championship by watching in the garage. So that's where we gotta go back to. And that's
portable AC units now that you can buy. It's crazy. I saw something about a portable AC unit.
Yeah, I found them.
Yeah. And speaking of the chat, I some people are giving me crap in the chat. Hey, we're winning all these games, all right, baby?
Yeah.
We're just
talking hypotheticals.
We're talking hypothetically if Miami was good, which they're not going to be, and LSU's not going to be either. Okay, so.
All right, I said this at the beginning of the show. There's always a tweet, there's always a comment that gets your ears perked up. Can we call Dave? Can we get him on a hotline to see if he can address this tweet here? Because I saw this and I go, this guy just tries to ruin my Wednesday.
Doing a live show right now. Let me see if he's doing a live show.
Yeah, say we need you for an emergency presser. So Dave Waters tweets out, and look, I love it. Get Dave keeping it accountable. A year ago, Fall Camp Reports praised Asa Turner, DJ Douglas, but they had little impact. Triquez Bridges, despite less hype, proved better. While we discuss current events, untold stories remain for these Gators. And look, it's funny how I think all of our content creators' brains work, because I was thinking something similar to this today of like what's a story that we've heard that's going to disappoint us? What's a group that we've been excited about that's not going to live up to the expectations that we as fans have created in our minds? And yeah, Asa Turner was a name that was talked about. DJ Douglas, I think the way that he flew around the football field and hit people was what was praised. Triquez Bridges, to that, he changed positions in the middle of the season, and I think that was a big factor too. I think wherever they had him earlier on played a factor to the reason why he wasn't getting a lot of hype. But yeah, look, guys sometimes practice better than they play, and sometimes guys play better than they practice, which is saying the same thing. But he's right. There's going to be, I don't want there to be, but there's going to be something that does not perform to the expectations. That's just life. Not every single group is going to be perfect. Not every single cornerback is going to play to the level we all believe that it should. When he wrote that, I was like, I wonder if he just got a gut feeling. Is there something that he heard? Because again, his tweet was similar to.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, you calling him?
Yeah, he said he'd come on.
Yeah. Look at this. Improv. I love it. Are you just going to call him? Like a radio show?
Yeah.
Oh, this is way cooler. I mean, who's doing it? We're like, I don't know who we're like, but we're like the old days. Call him, make him, do him prank.
Hold on 1 second. You hear me?
I got you.
I have to put him up to the mic because this Bluetooth's not working on here.
Oh, I wanted the cool audio.
Okay. Hold up. Can you hear me now? Yeah, hold up. Let me see if I can play with this thing real quick.
Come on, Dave. You got us. Yeah, Aaron Gates came out of nowhere. There was a lot of positive too that lived up to the expectations. And look, even though Asa Turner didn't pan out, neither did DJ Douglas, I think was more of an unsung hero. He had big moments, but not especially what we all anticipated or what we all expected. But who was it? I mean, Jaden Ball. Jaden Ball bursted onto the scene, big boy. That wasn't somebody.
Yeah, I can't get him to come through here. So
All right, just hold the. He won't be able to hear me though. Can you send him a link?
All right. Well, we'll do the technical on it. Hold on.
You send him a link.
I'm trying to get it to where this will work. I got it. Like, I have the routing on main mix.
You have mixed minus on?
Yeah, I have mix minus on.
I love how Dave and Dave are trying to figure out this problem.
Here, you go ahead, man. I'm going to mute myself real quick.
Okay. Bryce Dorton is that dog, Ultra Gator. He is. All right, while we wait for Gator Dave and Dave here to figure out the situation so we can pick Gator Dave's brain on his tweet here. You guys go check out the store, hightopsport.com/shop. Get yourself some merch. We got Beat LSU gear up, Beat FI or LIU, excuse me. We probably should start dropping the other shirts here soon, don't you think, boys? Thoughts on that? Dave and Dave is a future show. It really could be. It really could hit too. Oh wow. How new is this? 9 hours ago. Tennessee agrees to appear apparel deal with Adidas, set to leave Nike. Wow. Adidas coming on strong.
That Bluetooth's not working. I'm going to just give him the link. Let him come in for a second.
Okay. Do some stand-up comedy. You know, that's those are one of those long-term things that I would like to eventually try to go do. Like just go to those like old, like not old, but the bars that have stand-up comedy, like write like a little 5-minute bit and just give it an old college try. It's definitely my bag of tricks. Drop the USF shirt. You know, I wasn't going to do a USF shirt because I didn't think that they would do well, but I did an LIU shirt, which doesn't make sense either. Should I do a USF shirt? I have time. Old Albert riding a bull, maybe? Maybe I should. Maybe I'm being an idiot for not doing that because it is a home game.
Yeah.
Huh?
I sent him the link. I don't know what the heck's going on with this thing. Like it'll work when you're pressing the buttons. You can hear the buttons, but you can't hear anybody talking.
Yeah, it sounded sick. I was like, oh, dude, we're about to be like a legit. We need to figure that out in case we need to call Dave or anybody.
Yeah, I know.
What a G for coming on though like that. Maybe we should just
do
do that from now on. Let's just catch him off guard.
I told him, I was like, you don't have to use the cam. Just come on with the audio, whatever. I don't know what he's doing, so.
Oh, true.
Maybe he's in the bathroom taking a doo-doo.
Oh, yeah, we get. Is he on a toilet? We got Dave on the toilet. We got Dave on the toilet. All right, Dave. I appreciate you coming in. I like this. I like this natural Dave here. You know what I mean? Not studio
Yeah, this
Dave.
is not set up at all. I got a text from Dave, and there we go.
This is what I was hoping for. I wanted it to be as free flowing as possible. I didn't want anybody to be prepared for this because you didn't prepare to rip my heart out on a Wednesday night with this tweet here. What the hell's going on, Dave? Whose leg's broken? What happened? Because look, I want to preface this so you understand.
I did not mean for that to. Get that way.
Okay, Dave. Okay. So I said this like a couple shows ago because last year you brought up the offensive line stuff. Do you recall when you burned down Twitter? You remember the bad news?
Yep.
It's always something with you. Whether you're asking our coach about recruiting, you're always bringing down something. But you brought it up and took a lot of flack for it, stood your ground 10 toes down, and then ultimately you were right? So I said this year, I was like, look, when that comes up again, whether it's from you or somebody saying, hey, this is an area of concern, I'm going to be more like inclined, like they have reason to believe this is happening here. I saw this tweet today. Is this it? Is this the calling? Or is this you just getting a little just stir crazy, a little cabin fever, if you will, waiting for the season?
Yeah, that's really all it was. I'm glad we're having this conversation because if somebody's taking it that kind of way, not wow, yeah, never mind. That's not all what I meant at all. It was just it's all the intel that we get this time of year, and it's just like what's true, what's not true, and I'm like, what I was like, and I'm thinking in my head, I was like, what were we thinking this time a year ago with all the fall camp intel that was coming out? And this was the main one that stuck in my head because even dating back to not this past spring, but the spring before that, it was Asa Turner and DJ Douglas. We were hearing so much about those guys, and Triquez Bridges was kind of just a forgotten guy, and we didn't know if he was going to play safety, and he has to end up playing corner for Florida and saving Florida's defense in a lot of ways. But I was like, I got thinking to myself, what untold stories are out there with this team right now? But I was having this conversation today too, because somebody brought up this tweet. Neil Blackman, my good buddy Neil Blackman. He sent this to me today too, and we got the conversation. I was like, I don't know if we're going to have those type of stories because there's so many known names. There's not a lot of battles
To
like
be
there were
surprised
last
about.
year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
which is good. Which is a good thing. It's a good
Yeah,
prop.
well, yeah.
Or not a prop, but a
I
good
mean
thing.
that. Yeah. I mean that in a good way. I don't know. There's not going to be as many untold stories just because there's established names on the roster.
Yeah, we had a lot of chapters, if you will, not filled out last year that had to be filled out, and that was the reason for untold stories to develop and come through. Look, Jaden Ball was another one, and it was because of an injury, right? So those things, sometimes untold stories, they're good and you don't want them to happen, but we kind of had a lot of holes that needed to be told, and that's why you had it. And so we were trying to figure out in the offseason who was going to tell that story. Great point again. And it was funny you said you were thinking today. I think people think we're crazy, but like when you have a show like this, you're trying to get creative and think of conversations like this. These are the rabbit holes you go down of like when you talk about the same thing over and over again. It's like, how can I make this conversation a little bit better? What is something that we're not talking about because you get in a little bit of a rut? And I saw that and this was something that I was thinking about in a similar light. I was like, my thought was like, someone's going to be upset. Because somebody was like, you guys always hype things up. And I was like, it's not that we intend to do it. We just get excited about the football season. And, where this team is headed, you expect great things from it. But yeah, at the end of the day, there's a great chance that you're going to be heartbroken, that things are not going to go that we want them to.
And not only that, it probably stresses the point. And, I've kind of always put the disclaimer, take this stuff with a grain of salt. It is secondhand information. None of us are, besides Nick Delatorre, are at practice all the time, and he can only share so much. So a lot of it's secondhand information, and everybody has a different viewpoint. But at the same time, practices are different games, and we all know that. So a lot of things also come true from a lot of the camp intel. So but I was just thinking of what were we thinking of a year ago that didn't happen, and that was the big one that came to me.
So no one died.
Yeah.
No one's dead.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. That was the first thing that I thought of.
They did have to screw another arm on DJ Lagway today. I don't know if anybody knew that.
At this point, I think our mechanics team and AI generation, those guys are dialed in. Like at this, I'm not concerned with that at all. So.
I mean, they've got AI robots playing quarterback now. I mean,
we'll be fine. Well, I didn't mean to wake you up, Dave, or take you off the toilet, wherever you were. But I appreciate you hopping in to address this tweet. Look at me, I gave you a little slideshow here. I'm glad that you were able to address the fact because I was like, he's got something. I want to know what it is, but no.
I enjoyed the comment to the Miami fan earlier too. That's the Dave I like.
I mean, sometimes Dave just snaps on him. I'm like, there's just no filter, like no patience. It's just like you just backhands him. Like this
is a time of year where nobody has time for foolishness. We just got to get on with it.
Amen, brother.
We got to do things. Yeah.
Well, Dave, thank you for being on the ball like that, being ready to go, and answering Dave's call. Because you didn't have to answer.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know if Dave's gonna answer. It's pretty late, but I'll try.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have answered. So.
Yeah.
Tell them where they can follow you, Dave. Tell them where they get Gators Breakdown.
At GatorDave_SEC. I went live with an episode tonight right before you guys went live, I believe. We talked trench talk. We had a lot of offensive lineman talk with Jake Slaughter and Damian George. And then on the defensive side, Caleb Banks from, I think, last week, and then Jamari Lyons talked today. So went deep dive into the trenches, and then a little bit of path to the college football playoff for the Gators talk as well.
I love it. I wish you would have plugged it in there. If you guys want to know more about this tweet, come check out our Discord channel where I'll be giving you the full information of what this tweet actually means.
I don't hard sell it enough, I guess.
Yeah, you could have really I would have reeled us back in. I'm like, in there, we're going to the Discord now, boys. Follow me. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thanks,
man.
Thanks, man. Gator Day, boys and girls. Good stuff, man. What a trooper. Good show.
Yeah,
Dave's
man.
on the ball with the phone. I love it.
Yeah, Dave's a good guy, man. I told him, I was like, dude, it's not an emergency or anything, but Shelton wants you on just for a second. He's like, okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, it is an emergency. You said 911.
I wanted to
we
make
got-
sure it was calm.
Yeah, right. C Fisher 247. I wonder if he is from 247. $5. Looking at purchasing Florida versus Georgia tickets, is it worth it? Rivalry game, tailgating, Jacksonville. Spelled Jacksonville wrong. Lagway for Heisman. I mean, yeah, it's one of the just most iconic games in college football. It's an absolute treat. It's where I grew up going to Florida Gator games. It's where I got my wings, if you will. Cut my teeth at a Florida Georgia game. It's something different to say the least. It's a great time. Just the tailgating in itself. I mean, you don't even need to go to the game. Just go to the atmosphere. Go to the event. It's something special.
Yeah, this one's gonna be the last one for like a couple years too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Even more reason why to go. Yeah, that's very true. Very true. I didn't think about that. It's something, again, one of those things we take for granted that we shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to a few. I haven't been to some recently. Lately, I'm afraid I'll get stabbed by Georgia fans. But
True.
no, I want to go to one. I might go to this one this year, or maybe if it's like a home and home, go to that, something like that. We'll see.
Boys and girls, 456 strong, not 200 likes yet. Let's keep smashing the like button. Long show here tonight, but we're rocking and rolling. Had a lot of great conversations thus far with Dave, Cam, and everybody else. So thank you guys for tuning in, hanging out with us on this beautiful Wednesday. We're grinding it out. Just 17 more days. I didn't see this a couple weeks ago. We may have talked about it. I don't remember. Maybe we glanced over it, but ESPN spoke about some of their concerns for different teams. I know I wrote about them talking about Georgia being the defensive line, but I don't think we talked about their concerns for Florida. And they had a concern for each team. And I agree with actually a lot of their teams. From what my concerns were similar to theirs. LSU was their offensive line. That's been my concern for LSU. And then a few other teams I didn't know enough about to agree or disagree with. But their wide receiver core was for Florida. And look, I think they had good reason to do so just because of the production that has left from last year. And again, we know because we know what Eugene Wilson brings to the table. The flashes that we've got for him are incredible, but he's got to stay healthy. We know what Aiden Mizell can do, but he hasn't been on the field enough for someone from an ESPN taking a quick glance to know the talent that he brings to the table. In their article, they didn't even mention Tank Hobbins or TJ Abrams, which again, the flashes that we have seen, know they can bring to the table. They did mention Dallas Wilson, obviously being a big component to that as well. And then, of course, Jermichael Sturdivant. But again, he's a new addition.
Mm.
The way I looked at it is every room is going to have a concern. And it's funny because when you ask Florida fans, what's our concern? It was the D-line. It was probably the cornerback after that. Wide receiver was never a concern because we're so in tune and so dialed in with this team. I also believe that if there is a group that you can replace easily or plug in a guy, it's probably it's wide receiver room for me personally. And after that, it's probably the running back room when it comes to Florida's running back room. So I thought about it. I go, look, you got to pick your most concerned room. Like everyone has one. If ESPN's picking the wide receiver room for Florida, and we know the talent that's just hanging out in there, just reassuring what we've been talking about for the last hour and a half. Like that's one hell of a good place to be, because a lot of teams had their concern is trenches. Trenches wins football games. The talent on the outside is in my opinion, it's a dime a dozen, the most replaceable position group on the football field. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's kind of how I read it too when they were talking about like the worst position. If you think the worst position at Florida is the wide receiver room, then I say we're sitting pretty good. Then I've always been adamant about my concern, and it's not the fact that the skill level and the talent level that's there. It's more the depth. It's more like cornerback, safety, stuff like that. Because you're going to be playing a lot of young guys if there's injuries there. That was one of my main concerns. But other than that, looking around at the roster, the depth that you have everywhere else, I mean, I can't see a flaw. But I could understand why they say wide receiver, because there's a lot of guys that, you have a Jermichael Sturdivant coming back or coming to Florida from UCLA. You have Eugene Wilson coming back. But you have a lot of guys that not a lot of those people have seen. I mean, we've seen glimpses of Aiden Mizell. And you see this, you see like the big explosive plays that he had, but he didn't have a lot of those because he didn't really play as much as the other guys did, like the Elijah Badgers and the
But
Shamir DKs and all
here's the
that.
irony, right?
But
They go, look, these are the guys they lost to the NFL. Who are those guys who lost to the NFL? Those were two plug-in guys that were there for a year. They're like, that's a big drop-off for them. Well, those guys showed up last year. And Elijah Badger at the last hour, he got there in June and became a huge component. All these guys we just mentioned outside of Sturtevant have been there for 3 or plus years and are very well versed in this system and have grown to be this force. And look at the top wide receivers in the country headed into this year: Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, Cam Coleman. Yeah. Those guys are all true freshmen. Like, those guys have the ability to make an impact right away, very early. It's, again, the easiest, and I don't try to like downgrade the play, but those guys can go out there and just go be themselves. And Eugene, we saw Eugene freshman year. The guy was impactful right away until he got hurt. I mean, that's just, not to mention VB3. They did mention VB3's name in there as well too, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, those, like I said it a couple weeks ago, I think I said it last week. I was like, cornerback and wide receiver are like the two main positions you can come in and play as a freshman and be, impactful. I mean, a lot of other positions like D-line, O-line, it takes some time to get used to like a lot of the shifts and everything. And obviously you're not as big as probably a senior will be on their offensive line, or not as strong because they've been in a strength and conditioning program in college for 3 to 4 years. But, at a skill level position, when you're out in open field, I mean, you can literally come in as a freshman and be impactful. And that's why I kind of didn't really get where ESPN was coming from. It made me feel good, but I was just like, that's the main concern you guys have for our team. But I get where they're coming from. I mean, you can say that there's quote unquote unproven names, I guess, if you're a national guy, because you have to cover a ton of teams. So I get it. Like, you're going to forget about certain things. But at some point, like, you got to look at the talent that's on the roster and be like, okay, dude, like 5-star Dallas Wilson, top 100 Aiden Mazzell, 5-star VB3, J. Michael Sturtevant, former top 150 wide receivers, experience coming in. I mean, you just got all the speed, like Tank Hawkins, top 250 guy from IMG. I mean, you could go through just about any wide receiver that we have on this roster. And it's all speed, obviously, but they're all like 4 stars or 5 stars. I mean, they're not like these guys that come in that, maybe 3-star tweeners that might be good. Now we've had some 3-stars come, like Antonio Callaway's come in here and be a big impactful wide receiver as well. But, going just down the roster of the talent that we have at wide receiver, I just couldn't say as somebody that, covers college football that would be a main concern anyway, even if I was a national guy. Because, like, well, I know that they look at the O-line and the D-line and who's returning, so they're already going to cancel those positions out. Right.
And I agree. I think that those two are higher. I think the quarterback. Look, you could argue the quarterback room could be a room of concern, just because of the lack of, or just injuries at the moment. But look, to me, it was a compliment, right? If that is your biggest concern, which we know the talent that's there and the expectation of what it can be, again, it feels like we're in a good place.
You also got to look at the offensive line, right? If the offensive line gels like everybody thinks they're going to this year, and you got all those returning starters and they stay healthy the whole year, like, say if Lagway doesn't play in a game, I mean, like, you give your quarterback plenty of time to throw a football, you give him a good run game,
so he's going to
look good in a game anyway. Yeah, they're getting open. Those wide receivers are open.
Yeah, no question about it. Boys and girls, before we wrap this thing up, we're going to dive into, of course, our voicemails. 440 strong. We just almost there to 200 likes, boys. Show some love. Let's get after it. Again, appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight, showing your love. And first voicemail on the board. Here we go.
Hey, this is Matthew, and my hot take for the year is Muiz, Tonkara, and Naishawn Montgomery aren't getting enough attention, and they would arguably be the top 2 receivers in most other SEC schools recruiting class this past year.
2 names we didn't even mention when going down the wide receiver list. Tonka Truck.
Yeah, I have heard a lot of good things by Tonkara in practice. Now, Naishawn Montgomery, I've heard good things too, but I've heard that, like, the shiftiness of Tonkara and the plays he's been making out there is pretty insane. So
Naishawn looked awesome in the spring game. Awesome. I don't remember seeing too much of Tonkara, but awesome. And so for me, like, I can't
plays in the he made some plays in the Under Armour All-American game too.
Yeah, I've heard the great things about Mizzou too, but I saw with my own eyes Naishawn's ability to get it done.
Hey guys, Sean here from New Jersey. Thanks again for all the content you put out. Listen just about every day. Love listening while I walk my son around. Got a 1-year-old, so it's great.
Good stuff, man.
Living good life right now. But anyways, just wanted to give my opinion on LSU and a few other thoughts. In general, LSU is getting a lot more hype than Florida, and I know they had better overall success recently compared to the Gators, but I really don't think their roster is that different. We've been hovering in the same range recruiting-wise, and honestly, I think it comes down to quarterback. I'd take DJ all day 80% over Nussmeier at 100%. And, sorry, my son's coming over. We have more continuity on the line of scrimmage, and I just think Nussmeier's okay, but I think DJ makes plays when it matters. He's playing championship football. I think he's going to show it this year. Brian Kelly makes tons of mistakes. And honestly, hot take here, I think LSU is going to open up the year 1-2, losses to Clemson and us. I know, that's right, buddy. And then LSU finishes the year with 8 wins. I think Brian Kelly is no longer the coach in 2 years. Gets a job with ESPN and then goes somewhere else like Dan Mullen. One last thing. All right, so from everything I'm hearing, right, we finally have a team that looks the part. Oh, my God, buddy. All right, I'm sorry. Gotta go. My son needs something. So, but go Gators. All right, and looking forward to a great year to come. So,
take care of that kid, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Good call. Look, I actually, I'm not. I don't. I like that take. I think that the LSU, and I agree. If you look at the teams on paper, the talent that's there, yeah, they're very similar. Garrett, it's getting a lot more hype just because of what he's shown. But I mean, you heard Pate, he took DJ Lagway. I would take DJ Lagway over Nussmeier. I like Nussmeier, but I like DJ Lagway a lot more. I think the prior success that LSU has had with winning 10-plus games over the last couple of years and Brian Kelly showing a little more grit, if you will. Now, I wouldn't even say grit, but just having more success than Napier has is part of where I would say more of the hype is coming from, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, I mean, on paper-wise, again, there isn't much separation, if any at all. If anything, Florida, I believe, has done a better job of retaining talent and developing talent. LSU has replaced that entire secondary with guys from outside, and when that can be good, the talent shows to be good. Is it going to transition to the SEC very well? I think some guys may have played in the SEC, not that entire secondary. And is it going to gel well? There's a lot of question marks that are still having to be answered. And again, trench-wise, I think Florida buries them. So, yeah, not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, they've got pretty much a whole new O-line, too. Like,
yeah,
I mean, like,
and you lose your best guy, Will Campbell.
Yeah,
so.
and one of your quarterbacks is nursing a knee injury right now in practice. I don't know how bad that injury is. They're not going to tell us anyway.
Yeah,
but I mean, you look at the transfer portal, and I've always said that, like, hey, yeah, they had the number 1 transfer portal class. They got in just about every big name you could get out of there. But at the same time, like, we see a lot of these guys, especially in the transfer portal, that are ranked really, really high, and then they turn out not to really be anything. Like, they come from like the different division squads like the Big Ten, Pac-12, all that other kind of stuff. And then they come to the SEC, they can't really do anything. They were good there, but they weren't good here. Now, some of them have come from different conferences and came over here and they've had success. But the transfer portal is kind of a mixed match sort of thing. And then how do you get all those guys from different teams on the same page too? I mean, that's a different thing too. I think retaining talent in college football is very important. But at the same time, I think when you use the portal, you should only be doing that to bring in good players, not really replace a whole bunch of people on your roster.
So what I saw a thing today kind of talking about that, about the quarterback room from Andy Staples. And again, what's huge about this conversation, what I liked about it was, and I think the reason they were talking about it is because obviously Florida is going into, you can't say a first-year starter because he played 6 games, but there's a lot of teams that have first-year starting quarterbacks. LSU is not one of those teams, but there's been 9 quarterbacks that have won the national championship in their first year of starting, and that's Trevor Lawrence, Jameis Winston, Jay Coker, Mac Jones, JT Barrett, and Cardell Jones. They shared the same season. And so, and Tua Tagovailoa, but he came in like literally in the middle of the game, but he still won a championship in his first year of starting, just to show that it's a little more common than we think. Now, again, DJ doesn't fall into that category, but you know, can you give him a full first season of starting? But that was an interesting point on that I wanted to mention. I saw earlier today.
Okay, I need to redo my voicemail from last night. It was kind of everywhere. But anyways, the vibes that I'm getting is 2008 Florida vibes, bro. We got the quarterback. The only thing we're pretty much missing is the speedy running backs and Chris Rainey and Jeff Demps. But we really have everything coming back just like we had in 2008 when we got that one loss. And I really think Lagway, working with Tebow, talking to Tebow, just talking to past members of the team who were on that team, that 2008 team, who want that 1L back from Ole Miss. I think that's what they're out here fighting. They're going to grind for it. They're not going to tell us. It's not something they're going to openly tell us, but I think they want that L back. They want to go undefeated this year. When we running the table, Gators by a million.
I like that.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we don't have to speed at running back like we used to. I don't really think that matters at running back. As long as you can run like a mid 4.6, 4.7 and plow people over and get first downs, I don't really think that matters. But I mean, we've seen Jaden Ball take it to the house. We've seen Jacoby Jackson take it to the house. So I mean, they've got enough speed there at least. But as far as like just it's kind of starting to look like the rosters of old. It's still not there yet, of course. Like Urban was getting like number 1 classes, top 3 classes consistently. It's not there. Could it get there? Yes, when you can factor in wins and factor in a good season and all that. But I like the roster we got. I mean, your speed's not going to come from the running backs. It's going to come from the wide receiver room. So.
Yeah, to compare it to a previous team, it's hard for me to compare it to that 08 team. It was a special team, but I think this team has the ability to be special too. And look, when we think about last year's basketball team, right, you try to start comparing it to other teams, and it formed into, obviously, being compared to that championship team. I think this has the makings.
You could do like 2012, but I think that 2012 defense was way more elite than what – I mean, like that 2012 defense was ridiculous, but like the offense was okay. I think they scored like mid-30s per game. Like Jeff Driscoll wasn't the best quarterback, but I mean, we got a better quarterback than Driscoll, to my opinion. But I don't know. It's hard to compare them to like
other teams. Yeah, it's good question though.
Hey guys, this is TD Gator. Got a 2-part question for you. Part 1: early in the season, first 2 games, is Lagway on a snap count? How much does he play? How much does he get sat down? Second part of the question is, I can't think of the second part of the question. I just hate Billy so much, I just can't even think of the second part of the question.
We hate Billy. Well, we kind of answered that DJ stuff earlier today. We had the whole section on it, on a pitch count and how much we think he's going to play. So I don't think we need to answer that. But I don't know why you hate Billy, though.
Hey, Sheldon. Hey, Dave. This is Alpac here from Alpac Sports and your devoted high top follower. Here to ask questions, see how y'all feel about certain aspects of the team and everything like that. I'm curious on y'all's feelings about the injuries. Where do you think they are from? Because the majority of them are lower end leg and lower injuries, which indicates to me that they're either working on their legs so much that it's causing them to have the injuries and tendencies there. And overall, your overall opinion on that aspect of the practice. And do y'all think the practices are getting a lot more intense now than they ever been for the past 5-6 years? This has been Alpac Sports. I like y'all.
Shout out.
Sheldon and Dave. Signing off. Goodbye, y'all.
My man, Aloe. Shout out, man. Yeah, look, I think I don't. Again, all the injuries are, I think, kind of sporadic. I'm not putting it on one thing and guide it towards a strength and conditioning thing. I think it's a rough game. I'm not too concerned about it. I think once we get into it, we know more about it. Right now, I just kind of like Cam said, it's just at this point, it's so tick-tacky, it's hard to really put any stock behind it.
Yeah, I mean, like you look around college football, I mean, there's been injuries at other schools as well. We just talked about the Nussmeier injury. Then we talked about Tennessee injuries last week. I mean, it happens in practice, but I would rather them practice hard. Obviously, you don't want them getting hurt, but like this is football. I mean, people are going to get hurt. But as far as like the practices getting hard, I mean, like you look at like some of the like Chapman practices, like he's getting after them, man. He's cussing them out and everything like that. Like that's something I like to see. That's what you want to see. So yeah, I mean, like I like them practicing harder, but obviously you don't want injuries, but they're just going to happen anyway. I mean, as long they've been small injuries so far, so that's all I care about.
Exactly.
Hey, hi, Tom. Peter, Sean, Chris. First, I want to say, man, you guys are killing it. Love your show.
Appreciate it, man.
For a couple of years now.
Thank you.
Keep it up. I'd like to get your thoughts on what you think the playoff committee would do. Say, Florida's a bubble team at 9-3, those 3 losses aren't to the 3 teams everybody expects. Say, Texas, LSU, Georgia, close game to A&M.
I can't hear him.
Close game to Miami. And we beat ourselves.
I can't hear it. I assume he was asking, from what I gathered, a 9-3 team. They're on the bubble. Do they get it? Look, I don't think they're a bubble team if they're 9-3. And we took a look at the schedule a minute ago, right? And you look at those games and who they would be beating on top of if they were to lose 3 of those games. The wins would be surmountable to where they get in. I believe. I really do. I mean, again, Ole Miss, we didn't include in that. They're a ranked team, so there's another ranked win they would have. They would have probably they would be one of the most. They would have some of the most win-ranked games, I think, by the time it's all said and done, if they were to go 9-3. Could be wrong on that, but yeah.
I think he was referencing like if some of the games that like the wins that we had were close, will we get into the playoff? Like if we didn't like blow out certain teams.
No,
or beat
I
them
don't.
by,
Yeah,
like,
I don't think
touchdowns.
that. Yeah, I don't think that matters.
Yeah, I think that I think if you just go 9-3, depending on who you beat, you're in the playoff. Like, say that was on a show just last week saying like, hey, look, if you go 9-3 but you beat Texas and Georgia, they're not really going to keep you out of that playoff because you beat 2 top 5 teams, right? Like, you're probably not going to have the resume. Like, no teams are going to have the resume that Florida has if they beat both those teams and go 9-3. So they're going to shoo them into the playoff. Now, you go 9-3 and you beat the teams that you're supposed to beat on your schedule, then maybe somebody gets in over you. But like, I think with Florida's schedule and how difficult it is, especially having the number 1 difficult schedule, they'll factor that in anyway. So you probably are a shoe-in at 9-3, even no matter who you beat. It would just depend, like, because they're going to go by head-to-head and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how things shape up too. But I just, again, a team that we play, could they fall off and not be as highly valued at the end of the year? There's a lot that factors into it. But right now, as the schedule stands, they go 9-3. I believe they're 100% in. Well, boys and girls, great show. As always, shout out to Cam and Gator Dave for hopping on, being ready to rock. We're almost rocked for 2 hours long, 400 strong the whole time. Appreciate you guys for showing your love and your appreciation, always hanging out with us. Sounds like we don't have too much going out. We've got tomorrow was the last day of camp. We will have our show live tomorrow at 8:25, our college football show, where we're talking all things college football. So be sure to check us out. Come hang out with us. We're trying to continue to grow and expand the brand, so your love and support is always appreciated. Dave, anything else?
Make sure you pick up a lane chain. Promo code SPOTTHEBALL.
Bang, bang, baby. Check out OddsJam. Link is in the description. Use the code HIGHTOP. Y'all be good. Stay safe. Till next time, boys and girls. Peace and love.